As the man joins us now, Ike Reese, always a pleasure to speak to the Hall of Famer Brian Dawkins. B-Dawk, how are you?
I'm doing well, gentlemen. What's happening?
What's up, brother?
What's the vibe, brother? What's the vibe?
Well, the vibe is not good, dog. The vibe is not good right now. The vibe is not good. And it's funny, we're talking to you on a Wednesday, so we've had a couple of days to kind of dissect what happened Sunday. So we're halfway still getting through that, but also looking forward to this Cowboys game Sunday night coming up. But we'd love to get your thoughts on what you saw Sunday night against that highly anticipated matchup with the 49ers this past week.
Yeah, it's a couple of things for me. Number one, that's one of the reasons you don't get all like that for a game. Like everything is riding on this game. If we don't win this game, then the rest of the season is a wash. No, it's a game. It's a game that you can learn from. It's a game that you go in and try your absolute best to win, absolutely, but it is a game in the grand scheme of things. But when I look at this game, even before I looked at it, and let me talk about afterwards now. So after the game is over with, what has happened has happened. I can come at you in a bunch of different ways, Ike. And you know me as being my teammate, I'm speaking from that perspective.
Sure.
I can talk about iron sharpening iron. Mm-hmm. I can talk about, the process of you sharpening another piece of iron means there's going to be a little bit of friction involved, right? But it's some loving friction. Mm-hmm. But I won't even go there. I'll talk about what Jim Johnson's, because ultimately the tone of the defense, I believe, is set by the defensive coordinator. And with Jim, it was we're going to have controlled chaos on the field, doggone it. And one of his a couple of his babies was red zone defense, and we were always top 5, top 3, mm-hmm. right? And third down percentages, right? Mm-hmm. He was making sure that we were getting off the football field, right? And then turnovers. Those are the things that he really, really talked about. See, he wasn't worried about yards all the time, but once you got to the red zone, the door stopped there. You're kicking 3 points. If not, or we're going to get a sack or turnover to get the ball back. But when I looked at this defensive coordinator, he said something in the beginning of the season. I don't know if you all remember. He had this quote, and I'm going to quote this side here. It's a feeling. It's a feeling in you. That's what we want. We want to be able to be felt, whether you're watching us on TV, whether you're in the stadium, and obviously on the field. We want to make sure people feel the Philadelphia Eagles defense. And when I heard that, I was like, yes, absolutely. And so from that perspective, when you look at the film as a team, and I hope they looked at it together as a defense, because in those sessions, what you don't want is that red dot to be on you being circled, saying you need to do that better. We got to do a better angle here, set the edge here. You don't want that feeling, right? Mm-mm. But so when you look at it through his lens, through what he said he wanted his Eagles defense to be about, were they about that? And if the answer is no, then you have to be truthfully and brutally honest with yourself of what you're going to fix this week, about what you need to do to make sure. I remember we lost. I don't know if when did you leave, Ike?
After the Super Bowl. After the Super Bowl.
After the Super Bowl. So you weren't here in I think, 2007. Mm-hmm. The worst beating that we took in the link was a 42-0 against Seattle. Mm-hmm. And that was the night that they
the Reggie White ceremony.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I remember being so embarrassed, dog. So mad and so embarrassed that we allowed that to happen, right? I mean, there was a whole bunch of stuff going on. We weren't this team as good as this team, but I was so embarrassed by that, man. So I was like, whatever I got to do to make sure that never happens again, that when I'm on the field, that never happens again. So that means I'm going to watch this film with even a finer tooth comb to make sure nothing ever escapes by again. That's what I hope this team has done, that they went into practice today on Wednesday, and they had that type of mindset, that they were holding each other to that standard that their defensive coordinator said that we're about. We want to be felt. So that means that if the 49ers didn't feel us after those first couple of drives, then we need to do better. because we can do better. The other thing that I would do is I would show them the times in this season that they did just that they did make teams feel them, to let them know, yes, it's in you to do that. But sometimes during success, some guys sweep things under the rug. Yeah, we're finding a way. But if you find a way to win, but you're not fixing the things that you have found that you need to fix that got you into those predicaments, then you're going to run up against a team like they did, the 49ers, that were talented, that were hungry, and that they had vengeance on their mind, right? Yeah. But again, this can be an absolute clarion call as far as guys coming back, understanding what they need to do to fix the problem so that they can go into this week, handle their business, and then move on to the next one from there.
Yeah, you heard some of the veteran players echo that Monday. I know Brandon said that. Landon Dickerson was on with us, and I believe he sort of said the same thing, that, a loss like this, not that anybody wanted to lose or wanted to lose in that fashion, but this is the type of loss that can allow you to look yourself in the mirror and be honest with yourself. And there's things that, coaches may have been trying to coach us up the previous weeks, but when you win, it's easy to be like, I got it. I'm going to fix it. And then you win, you don't figure out you don't fix those things. But when you lose, and you lose in this fashion, everybody has to be held accountable. And that is an embarrassing loss. And the tone I'm getting out of the locker room from down there, when you listen to some of these interviews, they were embarrassed by it. They were embarrassed by it, at least the defensive players. Like, I don't know how you couldn't have been giving up 6 straight touchdown drives. That I don't think has happened around here since 1960-something. So they can't be too happy about the way that they played Sunday. Let me ask you this about the offense, dog, because we know about the defense being able to set a tone. I wonder from an offensive standpoint, we talk about running the football and trying to establish some sort of physical presence on that side of the ball as well. What do you think about that, and how do you think we are approaching the running game this year, and whether or not we're making that a focal point enough of this offense?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, I get it. I understand. You have your analytics, and it says, if we are running the ball heavily on first down, we want to do some play action on those downs to keep the defense off of what we're doing. I understand that. But you happen to have perhaps the best offensive line in the game, with the ability, athleticism from a center that is unheard of, to be able to call different things, to do different things against people. When you look at the 49ers offensive scheme, all the shifting, all the motions, and all of those things, that is to get you off kilter on the defensive side of the ball so they can potentially gash you, right? You have to happen to have, again, a center that can have you doing things without all of that shifting, that can catch the defense off guard, that you can then gash them with running backs that can actually tote the rock. So I just don't understand. And I get it. I do understand it to a certain extent, because you do happen to have, one of the better receiving corps in the game. But again, I want to lean on these guys. I want to make sure that the run game is prevalent and not just regular running attack. I'm talking about mixing it up, doing different things, allowing this offensive line to be dominant. I remember listening to Trey back in the day, Trey and John Ryan, be mad as all outdoors at Andy for throwing the ball early in games. He's like, we going deep on the deep ball. I haven't felt what it felt like for the speed of the guy, right? Like, offensive linemen want to punch dudes in the mouth. They want to be going downhill. They don't want to be going backwards all the time. So when you give those guys, and you can see it too, when you see an offensive lineman and they're dominating an opposing team, you can see the energy in the offensive lineman getting up. They don't even get as tired as they would because they're feeling it. So, but when you can do that, and you're punching dudes in the mouth, and they know you can do that, and now you then throw your deep balls, oh, my goodness. Now you start to truly gash people. But for the life of me, I don't understand, especially in a game with all that raining and all of those things, why you would not have given the ball to Swift. We might get 2 yards here, 3 yards there, kind of similar to what the 49ers did in the first couple of series. They changed from one thing that they were trying to do, throw the ball, and what did they start to do? They started to run it, and it was effective.
We'll ask you about the Cowboys game in a second, Brian, but I know you continue to give back to the city. Your partner and you found Caring People Alliance, and you're working to reduce poverty and injustice for Philadelphia's most marginalized youth. That's through the Boys and Girls Clubs in Northwest and South Philly. Last time you were with us, I think you were headed over to West Philly, but now you've doubled your investment in Philly's children this year through your successful fundraising, providing a grant for every child who applied. 39 children, Reese.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And each one of those are up to $1,000. So whatever it is that child in that household wants to go to, as far as after school or during the summer type of initiatives, whatever it is. Some of them are using it to go to piano. Some are using it to go to math camp. Some are using it for tutoring. So whatever it is that your young person needs, and you apply for it. Now, we was like, no, we want to, however many apply, we're going to bless them with it. We were able to do it this time around. So, yeah, we're looking to, again, create those moments for these young people that someone blessed me to create a vision for myself outside of my community that I went on to chase.
Man, and it's so important for our youth to have something to do that's constructive, that they could sort of work towards something that helps build their confidence. And we're talking about some of the areas that you're certainly trying to affect and have an impact on, keeping kids off the streets and out of trouble and keeping them away from things that aren't productive for them. This is certainly going a long way for those families, the single parents, to be able to have their children doing something that they can find inspirational and something that they may get introduced to that's new to them, and they find inspiration in that. So that is awesome that you're doing this, brother, with your Impact Foundation.
No, and it's a safe haven, too. Like that parent, as they're off to work doing what they're doing, to bring ends meet in, right? They know that their young person is not just in a safe place, but a safe place that they're actually learning some things, getting better, or again, developing potentially a dream to chase.
Mm-hmm. And BrianDawkins.com is how we get more info on your Impact Foundation.
That was a question, dog.
I'm thinking.
I'm sorry.
No,
yeah,
I just it didn't.
I thought you were reading something. My bad.
But that's how people can.
BrianDawkins.com. Yep.
Okay.
You can go to BrianDawkins.com.
Can you get more information? All right. Well, we all appreciate it. Mm-hmm. The importance that you bring to our community, and man, you're here every year, and you're joining us to talk about it. And $1,000, so he's upped it, Ike, from the last time we talked to him.
Mm-hmm. And you know why? You know why? It's because we had a whole lot more donations, the people giving into the foundation. So again, as much as we can get in, is how much that then scholarships, so this quote unquote, goes. Like it can grow all the way to 5,000. Who knows? Like so. Again, if you have that, if you have some extra cheese that you would like to bless some people, you can bless a whole lot of people through the Brian Dawkins Impact Foundation.
Excellent. Now, are you? It's like I said, it's Wednesday, so we're kind of getting over the Sunday game. We're not quite to Thursday mode yet, but on a Wednesday, how confident are you what we're going to see Sunday night?
So again, it depends on what is happening in the building. Mm-hmm. Seriously, and Tuesday for me, you have to have flipped that page. Mm-hmm. You have to be into now moving towards what the game plan is, what you're going to do to correct what you need to correct in Wednesday's practice. Again, I don't know what the practice schedule for those guys are. But for us, Wednesday is our practice. So whatever I need to do. So, for instance, if tackling is an issue for me, I know that people are like, well, they don't put pads on. That does not stop me from bringing my pads out to practice, Ike. That does not stop me from doing specific things during practice, like making sure I'm running specific angles. I'm finishing every time in front of the ball carrier with my knees bent in an effort to make sure, and giving the illusion of wrap tackling as I finish through him, explode through him, not hitting him, but on the side of him. And then after practice, that does not stop me from before practice and after practice tackling the sled dummy. Or I might even, give a practice squad dude a little more cheese, right, to come out and give me a little contact. So, again, that doesn't stop me from then doing what I need to do to make sure that I'm better at my craft. Does this make sense? And so what Wednesdays is for me. So I don't know these guys. I hope that they come up with a game plan of what they're going to do to make sure that Sunday never happens again. And again, Wednesday you'll have moved on to Dallas, and what you need to do to make sure that you are everything that you need to be, so that you never put anything on film like this past week.
What are you saying from this secondary? The secondary right now is last in the league in pass defense. We're last in the league, I believe, in third down defense, getting off the field. I'm just wondering, what are you seeing when you look at our secondary? And I'm including the nickel guy as well. But like when you watch our guys, what are you seeing out there as an issue?
I mean, they're struggling at times with communication. I've seen that on numerous times. Not so much this past game, but in past games, I've seen communication be an issue. When you lose your guy in the beginning of the year, and they lost perhaps, probably the top 5 nickel corner in the beginning of the year. We know that. Mm-hmm. And you don't have that type of backup behind him. That just no team has that. If you have a backup behind your number 2 that is that caliber, he's probably going to get a starting job somewhere else, right? Mm-hmm. So they have gone through some injuries. They've had plug different guys in there at different times. And it sometimes takes a guy a little while to get into the groove of playing that position, especially in a new defense. Once again, you have to recognize this is a new defense again. All that being said, this is still a learning process for this team. And in a way, I feel bad for Desai in that way, because I'm pretty sure there are things probably he wants to call, but I don't know if he has 100% confidence in some of the things. Just like at the end of the game, right? You call an all-out blitz, and the plan for even Jim Johnson, sometimes we're going to go all-out blitz, but we're not going to press. We're going to sit off. So when you catch it, we're going to come down and make sure tackles. And for those guys who are blitzing, we're going to turn to make sure that we're running to the ball so that no yards after catch will happen, mm-hmm. right? So it's not just the secondary. Sometimes it's guys who are, again, pursuit angles, getting back to the ball to help them bring down a ball carrier, to then have that be a short game so that they're kicking field goals instead of giving up touchdowns. Yeah. So but when you have a team that is giving up big play after big play, it may put a little pause in the defensive coordinator to call more blitzes. Why? Because when I call blitzes, we get gutted.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Brian, appreciate it. Thank you again. BrianDawkins.com. You can donate right on the website. I tweeted out the link to donate. Thank you so much, Brian.
Appreciate it, brother.
Indeed.